The opening scene presents the mountains on the border with Mongolia, where strange things have been found over the years. These findings include colossal fossils of unidentified creatures, as well as thousands of years-old bodies with their flesh still intact. Then, the scene jumps to the year 1979, when a scientist, Professor Yang Chen, assembles a special team to investigate the Kunlun Mountains. He wants to unearth more information about those mysterious discoveries. Next, we are introduced to Bayi, one of the many soldiers working hard on this excavation. His work seems very heavy, which is evidenced by the fact that they often collapse to the ground due to extreme exhaustion. Fortunately, there is the professor's daughter, Yang Ping, a doctor who supports the people in need. According to Bayi's narration, he feels a secret affection for Ping and feels as though he has known her for a long time. After days of laborious work, the team discovers a giant skull, leaving everyone in awe. Moments later, the cave begins to shake, and eventually this causes a huge explosion that destroys the entire camp. Sensing danger, the armed soldiers, under the command of Commander Han Ju Yang, position themselves outside the cave, ready for a confrontation. However, the only ones who come out are Professor Yang and a few surviving workers. The explosion seems to have opened a passage inside the cave, so Han asks if anyone wants to investigate it with the professor. Since there is a massive risk to life, most of the soldiers hesitate to participate. However, a brave Ping immediately volunteers to help her father on this mission. This prompts Bayi to do the same, and his best friend, Kang Sun, also decides to accompany them. In the end, a group of soldiers is formed to go on this mission. After this, the team sets off toward their objective, making their way through the demolished cave. They soon stumble upon a vast abyss down which they proceed to descend. They finally arrive at an icy platform with a passage leading to a dark underground. Going down even further, they find an unexplored cave filled with peculiar fossils. Is that Joe Biden? After wandering around for a while, they discover an exit that takes them to the other side of the mountain. Professor Yang tells Bayi that, according to legends, the gate to an ancient kingdom belonging to a top-secret government is located in this vicinity. Their conversation is suddenly interrupted when the other soldiers make a shocking discovery: a colossal paw print in the snow. Following this, the team begins to track these footprints, unaware that a giant beast is nearby. Along the way, they find numerous butterfly-like creatures fluttering around them. Looking closer, they realize they are not butterflies, but peculiar-looking bats. Unaware of the threat they pose, a soldier captures one with his bare hands, triggering an unexpected result. He bursts into blue flames, which causes his death. Two more soldiers rush to his aid, only to suffer the same fate. Seconds later, hundreds of these bats surround the team, forcing them to open fire. The noise of the commotion startles the giant beast nearby, causing it to retreat. However, its sudden movement triggers an avalanche, posing another challenge for the group. In a desperate attempt to survive, the soldiers begin to flee, but several of them die. At one point, they are forced to stop because there is an abyss in front of them. With no other choice, the soldiers pair up with ropes before jumping into it. As they fall, a rope tying Bayi and Ping gets caught on a piece of ice, leaving them both hanging. Not long after, the rope breaks, causing them to plunge into the darkness below. In the next scene, Bayi regains consciousness and finds himself in Ping's arms. He is unable to understand how he managed to survive such a fall. This incident reduces the number of survivors to 4: Bayi, Ping, Professor Yang, and Kong's son. The rest were nameless, so we didn't care about them anyway. These survivors gather as many supplies as possible before resuming their excavation. Finally, they come across an expansive cave with a tall tower at its center. The professor recognizes this place as the sacred palace of Kunlun. The tower is said to have 9 levels where demonic creatures have been trapped. Professor Yang kneels down and lights a candle. The fire instantly creates a flame that summons a swarm of bats surrounding the tower. After this, he sends Bayi and Ping to the tower entrance, ignoring the warning from Kang's son. As soon as the duo enters holding hands, an opening appears at the top, emitting a bright light. Shortly after, the cave begins to fill with numerous spirits. Assuming they have opened the devil's gates, Kang's son immediately puts out the candle, thwarting the entire process. Unfortunately, as a consequence, the cave begins to collapse and the bats return to attack them. Perceiving the imminent danger, Kang's son sacrifices himself to distract the bats, allowing the remaining members of the group to flee. The three manage to find an exit somehow, but it is on the high edge behind a waterfall. As they contemplate their next move, the bats catch up to them and launch their attack. Bayi tries to defend himself with fire, but a bat strikes him from behind. Witnessing the emerging flame, Ping hastily pushes him into the water before jumping in with her father. Bayi manages to find her underwater, but they are soon separated by a giant aquatic creature that carries her away. Subsequently, a heartbroken Bayi swims out and returns to the base. Once there, he receives treatment for his wounds, while Han informs him that he is the sole survivor. The commander further mentions that they found all the corpses of their soldiers, except for those of Ping and her father. Devastated by the loss of his loved ones, Bayi decides to leave it all behind, and gets on a train to return home without telling anyone. At the station, he is greeted by his new employer, Mr. Wang, who assigns him a job as a librarian. From that moment on, he begins working there and leads a peaceful life. One day, during lunch at a local bar, Bayi unexpectedly reunites with his childhood friend, Kai Xuan, who works as an entertainer. The next day at work, he stumbles upon a book written by Professor Yang. Upon reviewing it, he discovers various contents about the same demonic tower, making him realize that the professor was aware of it from the very beginning. Connecting the missing dots, he understands that only he and Ping could activate the demonic tower, which explains why Professor Yang sent them earlier. Meanwhile, Commander Han and his team discover a coffin containing a living woman who looks like Ping. They refer to her as Shirley. This woman possesses a mysterious and uncontrollable power, so the officers are forced to confine her to a closely monitored room. 3 years later, Han's team finds Professor Yang and takes him to their headquarters. Simultaneously, in western China, Oil Town suffers an attack by the enigmatic giant beasts, causing widespread destruction. When Professor Yang learns of this, he theorizes that the activation of the tower has opened portals in space and time, allowing demonic creatures to infiltrate Earth. To seek deeper knowledge, the professor slips away from the military quarters. The appearance of these demons seems to have an effect on Bayi as well, as the scar on his back becomes problematic. One day, while reading in the library, his back suddenly bursts into blue flames, and he begins to exhibit inexplicable powers. Now, he can make furniture, as well as his friend, float in the air. Shortly after, Mr. Wang appears, and despite witnessing the ongoing commotion, he looks very calm. He quickly takes control of the situation, returning things to normal. Upon asking what is going on, Mr. Wang explains that Bayi's blood is contaminated by a demonic force due to the previous bat attack. According to him, Bayi now exhibits immense power, but using it can lead him to hell. Bayi wonders how he knows all this, and the latter uses his own psychic powers to transform the library into an ancient tomb. He finally reveals himself as a protector of Prince Yi of the Su Lin nation. He further explains that Prince Yi was Bayi's predecessor, and that he had been tasked with leading humanity against the demonic race that had taken over the earth. Prince Yi used his own body to seal the tower, trapping most of the demons inside, but some of them assumed human form. These demons are now searching for Bayi, because he is the only one capable of opening the tower. Back at the military quarters, Shirley seems to have regained her memories and, surprisingly, expresses her desire to meet Bayi. As a result, Han tracks him down and pays him a visit at the library. The latter initially refuses to join the military force again, but changes his mind after learning about the woman who looks like Ping. After this, Bayi accompanies the commander, and Kai Xuan joins them. Han takes them to northern China, where he introduces them to the team that will go on a mission to find the professor. The group consists of a guy named Cheng Dong, a young woman named Wei Wei, Shirley, and other soldiers. Overwhelmed with emotion upon seeing Shirley, Bayi addresses her as Ping, but she insists on going by Shirley. Then, the group prepares weapons and supplies before setting out on their mission. They make their way through the desert, riding on camels. At one point in their journey, they are caught by a sandstorm, forcing them to run for their lives. As a result, Kai Xuan and 3 other members become separated from the group. After days of uninterrupted travel, Bayi's group arrives at the ruins of Oil Town, while Kai Xuan's group is still in the middle of the desert. When they are suddenly ambushed by demonic creatures, Kai Xuan's group splits up even further in a desperate attempt to save themselves. Despite their efforts, the monsters kill two of them, while Qingxiang and another man manage to reach Oil Town, reuniting with the main group. Upon learning of their clash with the monsters, Bayi suggests leaving to avoid a massacre like the one that occurred earlier in the cave. However, Shang and Shirley decide to stay and complete their mission. Their discussion is abruptly interrupted by the approaching sounds of the monsters. As a result, they arm themselves and prepare to fight. They soon bring down the first beast before pursuing the second. However, when they return, the first one is gone. In the midst of their struggle, Shirley runs into an abandoned school, and Bayi follows her. Upon entering, he discovers a pile of corpses hanging from the ceiling. He then stumbles upon a tunnel that leads him to the prince's tomb. Shortly after, he is attacked by a creature that knocks him unconscious. The creature lunges to finish him off, but Shirley intervenes, causing it to leave. In an unexpected turn of events, she uses her powers to place Bayi's body inside the coffin. Meanwhile, more demonic monsters appear on the scene, so the group takes cover on the upper floors of the building and fights back using silver bullets and rocket launchers. Where did they come from? It becomes evident that the demons possess formidable strength, making the bullets ineffective against them. On the other hand, Wei Wei poses as one of the mannequins and does her best to remain motionless to avoid being caught. As soon as the creature moves away, she runs to Qingxiang, and the two hide inside a bus. However, the creature locates them and begins to attack the vehicle. After a while, Bayi regains consciousness and starts screaming for help. As he does, the wound on his arm heals at a rapid pace, leaving him bewildered. He is then teleported to the same cave containing the demonic tower. There, he witnesses a creature dropping Ping's body into a flame that is eventually possessed by the demon queen. After the creature leaves, Bayi approaches her, demanding Ping's return. However, the queen refuses to give up Ping's body because she possesses the power to open the tower. Instead, she proposes that he accompany her to the tower and open the gate she has been waiting for so long. Our hero thinks for a moment but politely rejects her. He insists on being sent back to Oil Town, stating that he will find some other way. The demon queen finds this amusing, but decides to grant him a chance, teleporting him back. By this time, Shirley gains control over all the monstrous creatures and directs them to finish off the members of the group. The moment he returns, Bayi notices the creature attacking the bus with Qingxiang and Wei Wei, so he quickly brings it down with a rocket launcher. Seeing this, the other creatures lunge toward him, but Shirley saves him, knowing that he is the key to opening the tower gate. She then holds him in her arms and ensures his safety. However, Bayi, who realizes that Ping will never return, draws a pistol and shoots her 3 times. This causes all the creatures to disappear and the demonic tower to collapse. In her last breath, she admits that he is the only one who can kill her. Then, unexpectedly, she kisses him before collapsing to the ground. Moments later, Shirley transforms into Ping, who expresses her happiness at seeing him one last time. However, Bayi is still not ready to lose her. He carries her and takes her to the prince's coffin, hoping it can heal her. He lies down beside her and gently touches her forehead with his own, triggering a wave of memories from their childhood. It turns out that Ping possessed an inherent supernatural ability, the power to revive deceased beings. This explains how Bayi survived despite falling into the deep, dark abyss earlier. However, Ping's mother forbade her from using these powers for some reason. One day, her mother passed away after burning in a blue fire, revealing that she was a descendant of demons who took human form. Before the vision ends, Ping expresses her unconditional love for Bayi and asks him to find her father. With this, she passes away, leaving Bayi heartbroken. After a time of remorse, he regains his composure and decides to honor her final wish. The movie ends with Bayi resuming the mission with the rest of the team members. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel. Thanks for watching.